Another motorcade, another booking, this time Fulton County, Georgia. The fourth indictment for a former president, but this one was different. For the first time, paying a bond to be released. And the mugshot. Inmate number P01135809. The former president booked in Fulton County Jail in Atlanta, charged with being at the center of a criminal enterprise, allegedly attempting to overturn the 2020 election in Georgia. Trump was fingerprinted and self-reported his height and weight as 6'3", 215 pounds.
So much of what happened is unusual. The former president was in and out in about a half hour, and he was booked, he was fingerprinted, and he was photographed. And this was the first mugshot of former President Trump.
And while the former president, Donald Trump, has been through this before, he has been arraigned, he has surrendered, this was the first time that he has been to a jail as a criminal defendant.
The 41-count Georgia indictment charging Trump and 18 others with racketeering for alleged efforts to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election in Georgia.
It's the racketeering charge that former President Trump faces that exposes him to potential prison time. The way the law works here in Georgia. So he faces the racketeering charge that accuses him broadly of being the ringleader of an alleged criminal organization.
Trump speaking to reporters before leaving Georgia.
What has taken place here is a travesty of justice. We did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
All this in the midst of his 2024 election bid, where Trump is the overwhelming polling favorite among GOP candidates. But he is the only one facing an unprecedented maelstrom of legal challenges. This was Trump's fourth indictment, now facing 91 total charges, including federal charges in Florida and D.C., and state charges in New York and Georgia.
It's all about Georgia. You've got the phone call. You've got other people making calls to legislators there in an effort to overturn the election. So what makes this a little different is that there was a more concerted effort, it seems, in the state of Georgia than anywhere else to try to overturn the election.
But lesser known are the other calls that Trump made, allegedly, to individuals here in the state. There was a call to an investigator in Brad Raffensperger's office where he asked him to work during the audit, that he would be a hero if he found errors.
A parade of alleged co-conspirators were also arrested this week. Former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, several lawyers who authorities say worked to overturn the election, John Eastman, Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, and Rudy Giuliani, who himself made prosecuting RICO cases popular.
I am very, very honored to be involved in this case, because this case is a fight for our way of life. This indictment is a travesty.
They have all been booked and are out on bond.
Most of the defendants who've been charged along with former President Trump have turned themselves in here at the Fulton County Jail, all of them fingerprinted and photographed, all but one released on bond.
The Fulton County Jail, nicknamed Rice Street after its address, is known for its noxious reputation.
The Fulton County Jail is notorious for its deplorable conditions. Ever since it was opened, there's everything wrong with the jail, from sewage backing up in the toilets in the cells, people sleeping on the floor because it's overcrowded, crumbling concrete, locks on the cells that don't work, which creates a huge security concern. Bob Rubin is a defense attorney in Georgia. Over his multi-decade career, he's had thousands of clients pass through the Fulton County Jail. There's never been a president or former president inside the Fulton County Jail.
We ain't gonna let you pass the baton.
Last year, one inmate died in his bed-bug-infested cell. His family claims he was eaten alive. County officials agreed to a $4 million settlement. The Fulton County Sheriff has said there have been sweeping changes at the jail since. Last month, the Justice Department opened an investigation into allegations of unsanitary conditions, excessive violence, and discrimination against inmates with mental health issues at the facility. According to the Fulton County DA's indictment, the entire conspiracy began in November 2020 after 2 recounts in Georgia, including one requested by Trump, showing the same result. Biden had won the state. But almost immediately, Trump and his associates making baseless claims of massive election fraud online and on TV news shows.
The recount being done in Georgia will tell us nothing, because these fraudulent ballots will just be counted again.
So you believe that the president still has a path to victory? Multiple paths, yes, absolutely, through the legislature and through the court.
And we're seeing the results in multiple states where we're now identifying specific votes flipped, like in a couple of Georgia counties.
With every passing verdict that went against Donald Trump, you saw an increase in the rhetoric around the idea that this election had been stolen or falsified, or that there was sufficient chicanery, dead people voting.
The former president's false election fraud claims loudly continued.
There's no way we lost Georgia. There's no way. That was a rigged election, but we're still fighting it.
This was a concerted effort, legal, political, it's certainly one that involved big aspects of public relations that sought to exert pressure on elected officials to try to change the outcome of an election.
The indictment also alleging that Trump, along with Mark Meadows, pressured a public official to violate his oath of office in early 2021.
All I want to do is this. I just want to find 11,780 votes.
In a call with Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger.
So what are we going to do here, folks? I only need 11,000 votes. Fellas, I need 11,000 votes. Give me a break.
Another co-defendant in the Georgia case, Trevian Cuddy, who's best known for her time as Kanye West and R. Kelly's publicist. According to the indictment, Cuddy tried to intimidate a Georgia poll worker, Ruby Freeman, calling her and traveling to Georgia.
So thank you so much for agreeing to meet with us. We didn't want to frighten you, but we had to find you within this time frame.
Cuddy seen here in a video warning Ruby that she was in danger.
I cannot say what specifically will take place. I just know that it will disrupt your freedom, the freedom of one or more family members. You are elusive for a party that needs to tie you up.
So she goes and has this meeting, and according to the indictment, then tries to convince her to say things that were not true about what happened during the vote counting.
Rudy Giuliani also took aim at Ruby and her daughter Shay.
Of Ruby Freeman and Shay Freeman Moss and one other gentleman, quite obviously, surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin or cocaine.
This surveillance video from election night allegedly edited and manipulated to falsely show Ruby passing her daughter Shay a USB drive of stolen votes. But in emotional testimony before the January 6th committee last year, Shay explained it was something completely innocent.
What was your mom actually handing you on that video?
A ginger mint.
The mother and daughter telling ABC News exclusively how their lives were turned upside down by threats from Trump supporters.
They were saying that I should be hung, me and my mom will die, and, you know, like burning crosses. It's like a slap in the face, like just very hateful things.
They would say really, really bad racist stuff, you know. We know where you live, we're coming to get you.
In Georgia, thus far, many of the 19 defendants have already been booked. The rest have until noon tomorrow to appear. His campaign machine in full swing, fundraising on the back of a myriad of cases against him.
I think those who are simply saying all these indictments are going to hurt Donald Trump on the campaign trail, I don't think that his folks view it that way. I think the Trump team views a lot of the criminal cases as a political advantage for Donald Trump, not a disadvantage.
He is expected to be arraigned next month.
And now I want to bring in ABC News executive editorial producer John Santucci, who has covered the former president for a decade. You know this man well. When you saw the mugshot, I mean, we've been talking for weeks now about how they wanted to turn that thing into a fundraising gimmick.
Oh, we think any second they'll be flipping it into a fundraising gimmick. They're going to put it in an email to fundraise. They'll print it on T-shirts. Anything. But when I saw that image, Juju, it reminded me of a conversation I had with Donald Trump years ago for one of his book covers. And he was told by the photographer, look angry. Clearly, in that image, that is the same Donald Trump. Eyebrows arched. He knew what he was doing, but it does speak to what we've heard in the last couple of weeks. This indictment in particular, him and 18 others charged, this one has really stuck with Donald Trump, and that image speaks to that.
And so what can we expect moving forward? His legal team, once again, is in turmoil.
It's like a shakeup that every time we have a new indictment, Donald Trump changes teams, right? We did see that happen just hours before Donald Trump headed down. He's got a new lawyer. They are obviously pushing back already, saying we are not ready for October because they need to keep the brakes off this, right? They do not want any of this to happen before the 2024 election. They know right now time needs to get back on their side. So any way to separate from the others, that is the goal of Trump.
And we can expect cameras in the courtroom.
Cameras will be in the courtroom. That's the biggest difference out of all 4 of these cases with Georgia, and Team Trump knows that too. It's an image that will bug Donald Trump, but look at those comments he made, Juju. He has to lean into this rhetoric for his reelection.
Well, as they say in television, stay tuned. John Santucci, thank you.
Thanks, Juju.
Of course, you should stay with ABC News for continuous coverage of the Georgia case.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.